views and opinions expressed by hosts and guests on Patriots with Grit do not necessarily reflect those of Patriots with Grit LLC, its founders, and owners.
Get ready for truth bombs and guidance from conservative leaders and entrepreneurs from God-fearing, freedom-loving, truth-telling, patriotic Americans. Welcome to Patriots with Grit. Now let's jump into today's episode with your host, Darren Ross.
Well, many of you are probably wondering why we have an extra guest on our show today here, Randy. This is Sadie, our family pet, and she's the first indoor dog I've ever had in my entire life. And why is this show so important?
Because the pet foods that we are feeding our animals is detrimental to them and causing cancer. But we have a solution.
We're going to find out all about those solutions on today's show. Here we go. There's three types of gases in the body: oxygen, carbon dioxide, and nitric oxide. Cardio Miracle is your advanced formula nitric oxide booster and provides you essential support for increased vitamin D3 and blood flow and oxygen, cellular health and reproduction, improved cardiovascular health, enhanced energy and clarity, and it supercharges your sexual stamina. So start reclaiming your health today and increase your energy, stamina, and focus. Go to cardiomiracle.com, enter discount code GRIT. That's cardiomiracle.com, discount code GRIT. Take advantage of this awesome product and start feeling better today. cardiomiracle.com, discount code GRIT. Well, Kurt and Cristin Ludlow, thank you guys so much for joining us here today. You guys are part owners of PetClub247.com. We've been hearing a lot about this, Randy.
Hearing a lot about it.
Mushrooms, and I was just at an event here a couple months ago, and a guy approached me about buying mushrooms. I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, what are we talking here with mushrooms?
Was he a hippie?
I don't usually order mushrooms on my pizzas, so I'm kind of hesitant about taking mushroom supplements. So I'm just trying to figure out what this whole mushroom craze is, but we're starting to see a lot of information, a lot of data, a lot of research coming out on the interwebs, Randy, about mushrooms and the healing properties that they have. So guys, talk to us a little bit about the healing properties of mushrooms, and especially what the benefits are in our family pets. Because like I said, about, 70%, Randy, of households have pets?
I don't know what the statistic is, but I would say so.
I've had 5 dogs my entire lifetime. 3 out of the 5, unfortunately, died with cancer. And I was one of those people that I didn't know anything about any of this stuff until COVID started. I'm all about the money. I'm about the bottom dollar. I'm about economics. So I would always go to the store back in the day, go to Walmart and get the big old bag of Old Roy. You remember Old Roy?
Yeah.
And I'm sure
that was a carcinogen in itself.
that was like back in the 90s. It's no wonder all my dogs died, because it was like $4.98 for a 40-pound bag. And I'm like, this has got to be good, because it's good on my pocketbook. So guys, talk to us a little bit about what's going on with why our pets are sick, why they're dying. This whole past 4.5 years has been a big awakening for people in the healthcare, whether it's people healthcare or pet healthcare. So let us just spill the beans on what you guys are seeing here and in your research.
But tell us about yourself first, so we know that you're not just a car mechanic.
We want to know that you guys are credible. We don't want to be spreading information that is incorrect or false, and that we wouldn't want to be censored,
Right.
Randy. So talk to us about your backgrounds and why people want to listen to you guys.
That sounds great. I definitely love to give you a little background on how we got to this point, which will cover a little bit of what you had asked about there. So just over 8 years ago, our business partner, Simon Liu and Gino Ferrara, had reached out to us regarding, what they were doing with a mushroom, specifically at that time for humans. And they had shared with us that, just at that time, over 20 years ago, that Simon's mother was dealing with a very big issue, which happened to be in her lung. She was attending Sloan Kettering out in New York, and it ended up metastasizing. They did everything medically they could to help her out. Nothing worked. And they had given her months to live. So he did like any son would do. He was reaching out to friends and family members to let them know her circumstances. And one of his family members, a cousin in Japan, said, look, I've got something. I want to send it out to you. It's going to be in capsule form. It's just a mushroom. Just give it to her. Let's just see if it helps her at all. And so he started giving her this specific strain of this mushroom. They had a proprietary way they extracted it. And she noticed after about 30 days, quite a difference in the way she was feeling. Month 2, even better. Month 3, she felt like nothing was wrong at all. So she goes back 4.5 months later to Sloan Kettering. They run all the labs on her and they find that issue to no longer be there. Now, of course, they were flabbergasted. They asked her, what are you doing? What did you do? And she explained. And so they asked all the information that they could supply to her on this mushroom. And of course, that's where the first study started here in the United States on this specific strain of this mushroom. And today there's hundreds of clinical studies and trials from institutions like the American Cancer Society, MD Anderson, Sloan Kettering, of course, and it's published in the Library of Medicine. It's very highly studied. And what they concluded was that it's not a cure, it doesn't mitigate, it doesn't prevent anything. But what it does do is it provides immune support at a level that's just hard to find. And getting the immune system working effectively again is the biggest way to fix any type of condition, from the smallest of things to the most catastrophic. We all know that. And so for years, they would tell people about this. Of course, that happens to a family member. You're going to tell everyone you run into, what had happened. And people would start taking this mushroom. They get it out of Japan, and they would report back the most craziest of things that they were seeing. And so, at that point, they were like, look, it's taking 3 weeks, sometimes a month to get it from Japan over here. They went to his cousin. They're able to form a partnership to bring it into the U.S., and they started getting it out that way. And then 8 years ago is when they entered the pet side of things. Three of our partners had lost a dog due to cancer just within months of one another, and two of their children did as well. And here they were sitting on this mushroom that was doing just incredible things for humans. And they thought, I wonder if this is safe for animals to even take. They found a study specifically from this strain done by the University of Pennsylvania that stated that dogs with cancer would live 3 times longer that were on this versus the ones that weren't. And here they had the strain, the most potent strain. They knew that, they had their hands on something. They put it into their first pet product that they called a mush puppy, and started getting it out, gave it to us, sent it out to us and said, hey, you guys have got to give this to your dogs. I know they're healthy, but it'll keep them healthy. And we started giving it to ours. But 3 days after we received it, guys, we had one of our very close friends post on social media that he had to put his best friend down. And so I called him. I said, hey, what's going on with your dog? And he said, our dog, Zenta, has had an autoimmune issue for 5 years. But in the last year, it got so bad that if we took her out on pavement or asphalt or cement or asphalt, her paw pads would just peel off. And he goes, now in the last month, she got so bad that her eyes are whited over, hair's coming out in clumps. She is laying in the corner of her kitchen. We have to carry her outside to use the restroom. And he goes, there's 7 tumors down her side. 2 are the size of his fist, he said. And he said the vet didn't diagnose them as cancerous, but the vet believes they are. And he goes, look, she's 14 years old. It's just time. And I'm just having a hard time coping with it. And I said, well, listen, I said, I've heard some great things about this, incredible things. Are you willing to maybe give it to her and see if it does anything for her? And he said, yeah, we'd try anything. We take this over to him. He starts giving this little cookie treat that is just a supplement to her. And 4 days later, he calls and he goes, I see him call him. I'm like, hey, Kurt. And he's a Kurt as well. And he goes, what did you give my dog? Now, he said it in a tone he had not used with me before. And I was like, hey, is everything okay? And he goes, Kurt, Zenta just jumped on the couch next to me. And I said, that's amazing. And he goes, you don't understand. She hasn't done this in 1.5 years. He goes, could it be this mushroom? And I said, to be frank with you, I've heard amazing things, but I have not seen it for myself. But I mean, I can't answer that. And he goes, it has to be. I don't know what else it could be. And so they keep giving Zenta the mushroom. And as every day goes by, soon she's going out to the restroom on her own, right around 30 days, just like with Simon's mother's story. All the paw pads weren't peeling off anymore. The white in the eyes, all that crystallization was gone. Hair wasn't coming out in clumps. Complete turnaround. It took 4 to 6 months for these tumors to be gone, but they all disappeared. Zenta lived to be almost 20 years old. And it's been amazing what we've been able to experience with animals that are healthy, just to keep them healthy. animals that are elderly that are taking this, and they're running around like they're a puppy again. People are calling us and saying, our dog is, running up and down the stairs again, jumping in their favorite chair, just things like that, as well as just many, many, testimonials like Zenta that have seen just drastic improvements in their health, and they're still around today.
Well, I know that on your website it talks about, horses, cats, dogs, and humans. So humans can take this also. So I've been talking to my mom. She's dealing with a little bit of cancer, and I told her if she didn't take this, I was putting her down. So, now, Cristin, you're a certified pet nutritionist.
Yes.
So kind of fill us in on what maybe our animal foods are doing to the dogs. I think it's the same things that's happening to us.
Exactly, except it's worse because pets in their minds are more dispensable than humans. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but our pets are living half as long as they used to. In the 1970s, the average age for a golden retriever was 17, and today it's 9, if even that.
Wow.
So it really comes down to, what are we feeding them, over vaccination, air quality, water quality, chemicals that we're cleaning with and putting in our yards, all getting absorbed directly in their bloodstreams through their paw pads and noses and tongues. All of these things are weakening their immune system, and their bodies can't do what they were designed to do. And, you talked about old Roy. Those are what we were raised giving our dogs. We were literally buying bags of cancer in bulk and giving them our money, right? And so, that's why actually I watched a great documentary called Pet Fooled. I highly recommend everyone
wait, what's it called?
Write that down.
Fooled, PETFOOLED.
Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but where is that, on YouTube or what?
Yeah, you could just look it up in any search engine and you'll see all the different ways that you can watch it.
Okay.
It's available in a lot of different places. But once I watched that, at the end of this great documentary, it leaves you with, all right, everything sucks, the end. And you're just like, who do I trust? What do I believe? Who's telling me the truth? Like, there's nowhere for you to really go. So that's what inspired me to get certified in pet nutrition, because I thought, I've lost every pet that I've ever had to cancer. And the worst part was that I never questioned it. I just had accepted that was what happened, because that's what I had known since childhood.
Same here.
And so,
Every time.
You never question it. You're like, oh, okay, they got cancer. That's what happens, but then you look out in the wild, and the number of animals in the wild, dogs and cats and even horses, does not correlate with the number in our households that are getting cancer. So we know it's not hereditary. We know that it's something environmental. So that's what really encouraged me, because I didn't want people to feel stuck and broken and discouraged, like how I felt after I watched Pet Fooled, not knowing what they could do or who they could trust. And I wanted to educate people and encourage them that there are solutions, there are things that we can do. And honestly, over these last 7 years, what started as a passion has really become a purpose for us, because now I see that we're pushing back against some very nefarious intentions and motives. And this is we kind of feel like David and Goliath, and we have our little slingshot, and our stone are these mushrooms. Right?
Oh, yeah.
We're just like throwing out the mushrooms and just knocking down these giants, one pet, one person at a time, because every time that we're able to get these animals and these people off of these medications and treatments and out of this cycle of sickness, and they get their sovereignty back and they're able to get their health back, then not only are we able to help them, but we're also taking away power from, principalities that don't care about us, people that don't care about us, that we're all just little gears in their machine. And another great documentary I watched that I highly recommend because it is magical is called Fantastic Fungi.
Oh, cool.
Fantastic Fungi. And it's the same thing. You can just look it up and you'll see the many ways that you can watch it. But once we saw the power of mushrooms and how crucial they are to just existence of life in general, you realize this was all God's design. Like, everything was perfectly designed, and we have everything that we need is abundantly growing out in nature for us, and we have access to it. And all we have to do is just return to what God had originally planned for us, feed the body the foods that were already intended for us in the form that they were intended, and then once the immune system starts kicking in and doing what it was intelligently designed to do, it's almost miraculous what happens. And, you see all of these cases of dogs, cats, horses, people on hospice, in feeding tubes, terminal, told they've exhausted their resources. There was nothing more that they could do. They take these little mushroom capsules of this Coriolus Versicolor mushroom called Enforce, or they start giving their dog these little cookies called mush puppies, or these little treats for horses called mush ponies. And these animals and people are making a complete recovery because their immune system's able to kick in and do what it was supposed to do in the first place. So, as this attack and this assault keeps happening on the immune system, we're just really confident, and we're really pushing forward and going on the offense and saying, hey, no, look, let's stop being defensive. Let's stop reacting to what's happening. Let's go on the offense and let's take it back. And there are ways that God has given us to be able to do that.
Well, I was telling Darren, a unique coincidence, not a good coincidence, but probably 10 minutes before I headed over here to the studio, my wife gets a text from one of our friends that their 12-year-old dog had bruising in its groin, and they went and got it tested, and it's got lymphoma.
Yep.
But the thing is, some people want to do the pharmaceutical route, and
most people want to do the pharmaceutical. If I were guessing, is that true to say? Most people,
absolutely.
Okay. And I think the veterinarian pharmaceuticals is about the same as
humans.
So you had something you were gonna.
Well, I was just gonna say, is the whole secret to all this the Coriolus Versicolor mushroom? I mean, I sound pretty smart there. I had to say, Coriolus Versicolor. That sounds like some new TV that Samsung would come out with. But I mean, is that like the secret weapon here? Is that the Coriolus Versicolor? Is that the secret weapon, guys?
It is, and not just the mushroom, but the particular strain. We've been blessed that we have the most pure and potent strain. It's actually, like Kurt had mentioned, the strain that's being studied by most of these institutions that have been published in the National Library of Medicine and such. And, that's why there's a more common name for this mushroom called the turkey tail mushroom. When it's fully fruited, it's called the turkey tail. And the problem with that is, even though there are more beta glucans in that phase, there are less polysaccharides. And it's the polysaccharides in the mushroom that's what's really acting as a catalyst for the immune system. And so it's really important, if people are taking mushrooms, number one, to make sure that they're taking a very pure strain that's being tested regularly for purity. Just like anything, you could even go to McDonald's today and get salads and healthy food items, right? But we all know that the quality of them is just as important as the fact that you're eating a salad, right? So we want to make sure that the strain is pure, and we want to make sure that the strain is potent. We see a lot of times people will tell us, well, I've been taking the turkey tail mushroom for years, and I'm doing fine. And then they try our strain of it, and literally within days, they notice a difference. And that all just comes down to purity and potency. It's very important.
Website, you've got a lot of testimonies of things that have happened.
You mentioned the dog Azenta. I think he was in the video testimony. He was actually talking about it. I mean, he wasn't talking, but the owner was. He's the Siberian Husky, right? Is that Azenta?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, I also was looking into this. Somewhere like 81% of people feed their pets dry dog food or dry cat food. And one thing about Urals, there's no preservatives. It's no sugars, no byproducts. You do have probiotics, prebiotics added to your supplements. Talk to us a little bit about that, about what's in it versus what's not in it.
Yeah. Well, do you want me to take away?
Yeah. Yes.
It's really, you hit the nail on the head that it's equally as important what's in it as what's not in it. Being certified in pet nutrition, there's a rule that we live by, that if it's not something that you're willing to eat yourself or put in your own mouth, we shouldn't be giving it to our pets. That's how much we should trust the brands that we're giving them. So if you're currently giving your pets kibble, make sure there's a couple things that we teach people to look for. Number one, make sure it adheres to the AAFCO guidelines, which are stricter, because as you'll see in the Pet Fool documentary, it's a very loosely regulated industry. They use animal byproducts, which are unclean meat sources that could include euthanized animals, roadkill, and animals that are too sick for human consumption, all get sold to pet food manufacturers at a discount.
Okay, well, tell us what the acronym stood for.
AAFCO.
What is that?
Oh goodness.
You put her on the spot.
Come on, you're a pet immunologist now. You got to come. You got to answer. We can't leave the crowd hanging here.
You can't leave them hanging. That's very important. It's the organization that really helps to regulate what's been happening, especially in the feeding of our pets. So it's the Association of American Feed Control Officials. That's what it stands for.
I have never heard of that one. That's a new one, Randy.
You know, the thing that catches my attention too with the feed, my wife always says, you know, I've got some of my kids have a pet and they'll say, well, the vet told us to use Science Diet. But when you look in the ingredients on it, it's nothing but grains. And I don't know dogs that just eat grains.
There's a great video put out by the Animal Planet, and they actually put the 13 worst dog foods on that. Mm-hmm. And that was actually the number one.
Oh my God.
Science Diet. Well, our dog, you know, she's a little, they call him a teddy bear, and it's half Shih Tzu and half Bichon. And she has allergy problems, and she always licking and chewing on her paws and all this stuff. So we take her to our vet, and they're like, oh, you got to get her. It's not Science Diet. It's something else. I forget the name of it.
Probably
but it's
Royal Canin.
Canin. That's it. You know, I mean, our family farms, so it's, you know, corn now, 60-pound bag of corn, a bushel of corn is like $4.60. Well, like a 4-pound bag of dog food is like $55. So I'm like, wait, something's wrong with this whole, and she gets a little 2-pound bag of chicken chips from my mom for Christmas, and they're like $48 for a 2-pound bag. I'm like, where's the math is off here. Something's wrong with all this stuff. But so even the higher, more well-renowned brands and the higher dollar brands that people have put a lot of faith in over the years, the Hill Science Diet and some of those others, you're saying that those aren't necessarily better or more healthy just because of their brand recognition or the dollars associated with them?
And especially if you're getting it prescribed from your veterinarian, let's think of it this way. So 95% of veterinarians are licensed in medicine. Only 5% of veterinarians are licensed in both nutrition and medicine.
That sounds kind of like doctors, Randy.
Doctors don't even get nutrition in medical school.
No.
They were nothing about it, as we're learning from Dr. Casey Means and many more that are exposing all of this. Veterinarians make 34% of their income off of pharmaceuticals from pharmaceutical companies. So think about this. If your doctor is prescribing you or recommending that you feed your pet Science Diet or Royal Canin, what does that tell you about the categorization of that food? That it's not considered nutrition, it's not considered food, it's categorized as medicine, which is why they're able to prescribe it. So we're feeding our pets medicine every single day, chemicals that's creating all this toxicity in their bodies, and we think that we're giving them food.
And I understand these vets don't know that this is, you know, these issues are caused by that. They're just doing, they're very well-meaning.
So talk to us about this. If people right now say they have a dog 2 years old or 8 years old, and they've been on the traditional Hills or Royal Canin, whatever, diet for the last 3 or 4 years, what do you recommend people buy them just for their daily food in addition to supplements like you all have at your company?
Well, first and foremost, we do have a saying at our company, and you know, with this movement that's been building, that every pet, every person, every day should be on the Coriolus Versicolor mushroom, because your immune system and your pet's immune system is the most important system in the entire body. It regulates every other system, it repairs, it recovers, it does everything that your body needs. Stems from the ability of your immune system to function optimally. So first and foremost, if your pet has allergies, arthritis, epilepsy, they're experiencing seizures, autoimmune diseases, any cancers or tumors, anything that the body's going through, even anxiety, there are tons of studies that are being done that are linking the immune system to cognitive conditions and, you know, brain and nerve support. So regardless of what you're experiencing, the first thing we want to do is feed the body this mushroom that's going to feed the immune system so it can get working in your favor, because it's either currently working for you or against you. And then after that, after you've taken that step, then we recommend finding foods, like I said, that are AAFCO regulated, that are made with human grade whole foods in human grade kitchens, no preservatives, nothing artificial or synthetic, no allergens or anything genetically modified like wheat or corn or soy. And then we also want to make sure there are no fillers. And that can be challenging because even the higher end brands are using protein fillers that are cheap, like peas and beans and lentils. And they sound like whole food ingredients, so that you would think they would be healthy for our pets, but they have a completely different caloric system than we do. And those types of ingredients in high quantities are too nutritionally dense for our pets to be able to digest, and it stresses their hearts and causes conditions like DCM. So there's a test that you can do at home that's really simple to make sure that your pet food doesn't have any fillers in it. If you just take a piece of their kibble and you drop it into a bowl of water, if it expands, which normally it will swell up 2 to 3 times its normal size, that means that there are fillers in it. It shouldn't swell up. It should just sink to the bottom and slowly break apart. So if we're feeding our pets foods that have fillers in them, imagine what's happening inside of their stomach when they eat this extremely dry food and instantly chug water to try to rehydrate themselves. All of that food now expands inside of their stomach.
Talk about bloat.
It's horrible. It can be, they can throw up. Like, there's only one way for it to come out, right? They can get really uncomfortable, lethargic. So that's a simple test that you can do. Also on our website, there's several different research articles that we put together to help pet parents to, shop better, and, we're their voice. They're completely dependent on us to make right choices for them. So we do have some resources that you can read through to find out specifically what type of ingredients to avoid in pet food, how to keep the immune system supported, different pet toys that we found that are traditional, but we found that they can be very, very dangerous for our pets. All of those types of research articles and blogs are available on the website just to help people get better educated, because we know well-informed people make better decisions.
So, I did an AI search on, you're going to make me say it, Coriolus Versicolor mushroom. I did the search, and I did it based on health benefits with humans.
Of the Coriolus Versicolor.
Right.
I had to say it again.
It was not wanting to say that it cured cancer, but every one of those research studies that I looked at said it was beneficial during chemotherapy in controlling some of those side effects of chemo. So I find it odd that MD Anderson would admit anything like this because of their stature and the pharmaceutical connection and stuff like that. But I just want to throw that out there.
No, I was just going to say, the Coriolus versicolor mushroom, it's amazing. It doesn't interact with medications. You can't overdose. You can't get addicted. You can't take too much. It's just like eating a mushroom on a pizza. It's just, it's incredible what it's capable of doing.
We have a guest on our show all the time, John Richardson from RNC Store, and he talks about the benefits of apricot seeds. And up until 3 or 4 years ago, Randy, you and I didn't know anything about health, or we trusted our doctors. We trusted the medical system. Every vaccine, you go on a mission trip, you got to get this vax, this vax, this vax. I'm like, wait a second, I'm done vaxing, and I don't think I want to vaccine anymore my kids. And my wife and I are like, please don't vax grandkids. And we've learned so much. But speaking of what we've all taken in over the last 4 or 5 years with the COVID con and all that stuff, let's talk about vaccines and pets, because I know growing up, I went to public school. Randy went to public school. I don't know about you guys, but it's always, your kids have to have this vaccine, this vaccine, this vaccine to go to public school. Now we're finding out that's not necessarily true. Your vet's like, well, in order to come here and bring your dog, they have to have this vaccine. They have to have kennel cough if you want them to come and get groomed. And so it's like, where does this craziness and nonsense stop? I mean, you all talked about, the dog food, but what about the vaccines for dogs? And where does the buck stop with the vet, and they say, well, they have to have this vaccine or else they can't come? Or how do you kind of get past that initial gatekeeper process?
Yeah, over-vaccination is a really big problem in our pets. And not only has the number of vaccines that we are required to get for our pets increased, but also the frequency of the dosing has also increased. So, one that, like rabies, for example, that they used to say you have to get it every 5 years, now has become 3 years. Now it's become annually. You have to get a rabies shot annually for your pet. And the worst part is, we have a friend that's a vet tech, and have you noticed that when we were younger, when we get our pets vaccinated, they would always vaccinate them in their shoulder, like behind their neck? Do you remember that?
I remember
I
that.
don't
Yeah, I
know.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. And now when you get your pets vaccinated, it's always in their rear thigh, like on one of their back hind legs. So we noticed that and we asked, well, why did that change? And the vet tech said, because it's easier to remove tumors from the thighs than it is to remove from the neck and the shoulders.
So they know it's creating tumors. Holy
They know
cat.
their tumors are developing at the sites of injections. So these are all problems. And then if you even take it a step further, what is the purpose of a vaccination? The purpose of it is to create immunity, correct? To immunize. Okay. So now we have this condition or sickness or something that our pet sometime in their lifetime may or may not get. And if they do get it, they may or may not survive it. So we're deliberately and definitely injecting this into their bodies for something that they may or may not get. And if they do get it, they may or may not survive, to create immunity. However, God already built an entire system into the body for immunization, to create immunity, to handle when the body gets attacked by foreign invaders or when something catastrophic happens. And so what's happening is, as we are injecting these different vaccines into bodies, it in and of itself is now compromising the immune system, making the body more vulnerable to other different types of things, as well as what the original vaccine was created for. When you really think about it critically and like start asking the questions, it makes zero sense.
Well, then your dog gets sick and you keep bringing him in.
And we keep giving them shots, and a Chihuahua gets the same dosage as a Great Dane.
Well, and look how many vaccines are given to kids today versus how many were given to kids when we were growing up, Randy. I think when we were growing up, it was like 4 to 6. And now I believe the vaccination schedule for kids today is somewhere between 72 and 74 doses. So it just something just doesn't make. You ask about vaccines, why they give vaccines, and this is the reason right here. Money. It's all about the money right there. I mean, 100%. And I don't know what a vet makes when they come in and bring it for a dog, for a cat, for a vaccine, but to me, it's a money train.
Yeah. And, if for people that no longer want to vaccinate, that still need it for whatever reason, once your pet, this is the only vaccine that I personally recommend, and I'm not a veterinarian, I'm certified in pet nutrition, but I'm just going to share with you what we do for our own pets, because we've done a lot of research and studied this and spoken with a lot of holistic veterinarians. And so the only vaccine I recommend is one rabies shot, maybe when they're about 6 months old, which they're doing it too soon. A lot of times they're doing it when they're only 2 or 3 months old, and that's too soon. So maybe one rabies vaccine when they're 6 months. And then what you can get moving forward for anyone that requires it is what's called a titer test, TITER. And this is a test that they can do that verifies that the antibodies for the rabies vaccine is still present in the animal's blood, so you don't have to keep vaccinating them over and over and over. It proves that all the antibodies are still there. So that's what I recommend for anybody that's like stuck between a rock and a hard place, where they're asking for proof or they're asking for vaccination records, but they are feeling that conviction not to vaccinate. They can always do a titer test, and that will pass. That will show them that they do still have it.
Well, my wife's a big holistic person. I mean, she's into health and eating right, and she's been in the healthcare space for her entire career. And she's one of these people that wants to get all the chemicals out of our house, whether it's shampoos or soaps or toothpaste or deodorant. And she's on the bandwagon also of doing the same for our dog. And she has mentioned a holistic vet. So if you take the same equivalent, like a holistic, say a functional medicine doctor versus an MD, well, you can go to a functional medicine doctor. They can do so many things, but they can't do surgery. So what do you do if you take your pet to, say, a holistic veterinarian, and then Fido needs to have some sort of surgery or get fixed or whatever, and then that vet's like, well, they don't have this or this or this or this. They haven't had this vaccine, so they can't come into my clinic and get this procedure. How do you balance that narrative right there?
Well, there are actually more and more holistic veterinarians that are schooled in to be able to do those types of surgeries and stuff. But one thing that we've been finding that we never knew about because we never gave it enough time to see what the body could actually do for itself is how the immune system is responsible for repairing and recovering the body. I can't even, like, people don't realize that the immune system builds bone. It builds ligaments and tendons that are torn. It can rebuild them itself. There are a lot of the body can even do surgery on itself. So we've seen with animals when they have tumors that are maybe cancerous or detrimental to being inside of the body, and the body can't break them apart fast enough and get rid of them, through the normal ways fast enough. Sometimes it will actually open up the skin, push the tumor out, and then close up the skin. But we don't know that the body can do all these things because when a ligament is torn in our pets, or like an ACL, we immediately go get a surgery. If they get a tumor, we immediately go get a surgery. We don't know that their immune system's able to handle a lot of these different things that they're experiencing, and we don't even need the surgery in the first place. So I always recommend trying to find a holistic vet in your area that can give you the proper guidance on how to, in many cases, handle that without any anesthetic or without any really invasive surgery or something that could be traumatic for our pet, because there are a lot of natural ways to guide their bodies through it so we can avoid doing that.
Well, I know that there's probably millions, or not millions, but thousands of different mushrooms that are being advertised, or maybe even something similar. But I think what you guys have said, it has to do with the extracting process. I don't know. I think you told me that you thought that pharma was trying to figure out that process so they could synthesize it. Of course, then it's synthesized. You're not going to get the effects out of it.
No, they've been studying it for over 30 years. And we have to ask ourselves, for a supplement that has the results that it has, that has been so comprehensively researched for this many decades, why have we not all heard about it? How is this not common knowledge? Over 400 published studies. How do we not know about it? And you're right. It's because they've been studying it to try to learn how to synthesize it so they can mimic its properties and what it does, which they can then patent, because you can't patent a mushroom, because it's something that's naturally occurring. So this is why we've never heard of it. And, we really want to be good stewards with what God has given us. And so we're very diligent about how we extract. We have a proprietary way that we extract it while it's in its mycelial stage, while it's still a little baby. That's when there are the most polysaccharides present, both the PSP and the PSK. And that's what makes it so potent. And that's why we've been having such wonderful experiences, and we're receiving incredible reports about what God has been doing through this mushroom and how it's affecting the body when the immune system is fed the proper food in its pure and potent state. And so it is, it's really important that we're paying attention to what strain we're using, how it's extracted. All of those things matter.
So you're a certified mycologist? I said that certified right. So what exactly is that? Is that the early stages of a mushroom, or is it kind of the study of fungus?
Right. Mycology is the study of mushrooms, and you're 2 for 2 now. You got mycology. Good job.
So, yeah, but go ahead.
It's just the study of mushrooms. After I watched that fantastic fungi documentary, and I learned how integral mushrooms are and how they're most closely related to humans, believe it or not. They're more closely related to humans than they are to plants or any other animals. So once I started learning about how everything works together and how it was designed, it inspired us to learn more about it and to become a greater resource for people by understanding it more.
So you just wake up one day and say, I want to be an expert in studying mushrooms?
Yep, pretty much. No, it's funny because I always feel like God calls me, when God convicts me, I always feel called. And whenever you feel called to something, then he always equips you, right. So that's kind of the way that it happened is, we get the calling to learn this or to understand it. And then when you're living in your calling and when you're living in your purpose, then things happen with so much grace. Like everything's so much easier.
So did you just go to college for so many years to learn about mushrooms? I mean, you're just to the study of mushrooms while you're going through a 4-year college?
Yeah, pretty much. I just went to college and learned as much as I could about it and got certified in it.
Wow.
I never heard of such a thing, Randy. But then we are sheltered here in Missouri.
Well, there are. Never
I
mind.
mean,
I'm
they're
not
from
even
the great
going-
state of Nevada, so we're sheltered here. Yeah.
I'm not going on
Well-
to another social issue here. So
Well,
tell
that
us.
was an education when I was growing up, so I think I took the odds.
I bet they did think you were kind of off.
Born and raised here is the worst part.
Yeah. So what are people supposed to look for? Because you're going to get stuff out there on the social media and the internet. What is kind of the differentiator and what you're looking for? What a customer should be looking for?
Yeah, again, looking for companies that are, first of all, telling the truth and are regularly testing for purity in their product, regularly testing for potency. That's something we're very diligent about. That's why we're having such great results and experiences that we're having. And, I think we're moving into a new era thanks to people like you and many others that are stepping up and putting together these podcasts and these shows where we can share information and we can share experiences with each other that maybe were not common knowledge, but now are becoming common knowledge because of your efforts. And you stop waiting for other people to do things and start taking responsibility and just getting the conversations going. So, we're grateful for platforms like this where we're able to share and educate people and tell them the truth of what's going on and teach them what to look for when they're shopping. Another thing that's really, really important is making sure that anything they're buying for their pets or for themselves is made and sourced in the United States.
I was just going to add that.
Yeah.
Yes. And, they're spending money with companies that are like-minded,
Yeah.
that are not spending their money in places they shouldn't be.
Right.
Well, I want to touch on one other thing. We talked a little bit about, the vaccines and what's in the food and what shouldn't be in the food. Let's talk about pet toys. Because our dog is a fanatic. My wife can, for Christmas or for the dog's birthday, my wife can literally buy 3 or 4 toys and bring them in a bag and set them on the dining room table. And this dog can literally sniff those things out, and she'll have her paws up on the chair. 2 nights ago, my wife has been out of town for a few days. She got stuck in a snowstorm in St. Louis. I was home alone with the dog. My wife apparently over Christmas had bought her several pet toys, left them in a bag in our bedroom. She snuck in and got one. And then in the middle of the night, I get awakened by Sadie, our teddy bear dog, at 12:55 a.m., rustling around in this bag, waking me up trying to get her second toy out of there. So, what is in these toys that is so attractive to these dogs? And are the toys that we're giving our pets safe? And if not, what should we be giving them to play with?
No, many of them are not safe, because dogs are like toddlers, like swallow anything that they can get their mouths on, right? Anything they can get into their hands, they're eating it and swallowing it. And so we're finding bleach stuffing, styrofoam, plastic, pieces of tennis balls, heavily dyed and processed cotton and nylon fibers that can actually shred the digestive system because they're synthetic. And our pets are swallowing these and eating them. And unless they're able to pass these objects on their own, or we do some type of emergency surgery, those objects are now stuck inside of their body for the rest of their lives. And it's leaching poison, slowly poisoning them from the inside out. And then even options that we feel are more natural, like bones and pig ears and rawhides, we think, it comes from animals. These are natural. Well, the way that they're processed are horrible. They use glues, bleaches, preservatives like formaldehyde. They use harsh coloring, especially red paint. Sometimes they'll even use furniture stain to antlers or, to make something appear more natural or appear like it's a higher grade or it's a better quality. And so our pets are licking this and chewing this, and they're having all kinds of conditions. And, another thing I recommend people do some research on is how pig ears and bones and rawhides are harvested. It's very inhumane and unethical what they're doing. And so we're just really encouraging pet parents. The only way to stop these practices is to stop the demand, right? If we can kill the demand, then they'll no longer be able to supply it for us. So we recommend natural things like we use ropes, untreated hemp rope that don't have any dyes in it. Dogs can only see blue and yellow and brown. They're colorblind. So why do we have red toys and purple toys and, all of these different colors? And that's not to stimulate our pet. It's to stimulate us to buy them for our pet. That's why they do all that stuff. It's because we're the consumer, and a pet knows no difference. They can't see it. So, things that are untreated, things with no dyes in them. Hemp rope is really good because it does digest and actually has good properties for their bodies. We also use naturally shed antler that's been naturally shed here in the United States. And we only use A or B grade. That's very important because a lot of times you'll see antler at the store that's C grade or chalk. And so it can be really brittle. It can have an odor. It can be really messy. You'll see antler that's been stained with furniture stain. So if it's that really dark, super shiny brown, that's not good. That's probably furniture stain. So make sure you're only using A and B grade antler for them. And that's very mineral rich. So as they're chewing on it, it's not only something for them to keep their jaws healthy and their teeth strong, but they're getting a lot of those minerals that they need that are, just laying out on the ground in the wild for them.
I know my wife got home today. Like I said, she was stuck in a snowstorm and she hadn't seen the dog in a few days. And of course she gave her a toy, and the toy was a replica chew toy, bright blue with a squeaker in the middle. And it was all printed with Kraft macaroni and cheese on the outside. And within a few minutes, there's white fuzz all over the floor in the living room. She goes for the squeaker every single time. She has to get that squeaker. And, I've been thinking over the last few months, I'm like, I can't even tell you how much fuzz I picked up all over our house and thrown it in the trash. And then now that you say this, you're finding remnants of fuzz in their bodies and plastic residue. I'm like, that makes total sense. And the dyes or the whatever's in the material that's printed, this is finally. I'm slow, Randy. I'm slow to learn.
If they're just somebody printing out or injection molding toys out of PVC, we know what's happening to us. We're getting plastic microplastics. So they are, and that's stuck in their body.
But nobody had heard about this until. I have not heard about this till like the last 4 or 5 years. You guys may, because you studied mycology, but I did not know anything. I just thought you just go to the store and buy this pet toy or this pet treat and everything's good. But now it's all starting to add up, Randy.
Yep. Can we jump over to your website and maybe have you just kind of show us? I'll drive and you can show us a few things.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So, what's great on that website is if you scroll down a little bit, there are a couple of videos that people can watch, but there's something specifically called our Pet Health 101. It's a little bit further down when you scroll down. And that's about 25 minutes. And it's really in depth about what to look for when you're shopping for your pets and, why we're experiencing the problems that we're experiencing. And even if you have specific health concerns, what you can do to address those specific health concerns naturally are all there. So I always recommend people watch that. And it's really powerful when we learn all of the different proper things. But our website really is designed to educate people and just let them know what is possible for their pets and even for themselves when their body just gets the natural support that it deserves.
Yeah, I want to go up to there. You got the section on the reviews. You've got some research. But if we go to the shop page, you've got categories for dogs, cats, horses, and the humans.
Yep, and you can just click on any one of those and see all of the different options for that different category. Now, I'm glad that you stopped here because this is really important, especially being certified in mycology. Mushrooms, especially medicinal mushrooms, have very specific purposes or intentions, and not all mushrooms play well together. As a matter of fact, sometimes mushrooms can neutralize each other's effects because one does one thing, another does another. When you take them together, it can cancel out the effects of the mushroom. So we're very intentional with the different mushrooms that we offer and making sure that they all complement each other and work together in a synergy. So while we do have our core mushroom products, which are the green bottle and the yellow bottle that you see there, the green bottle is the Enforce Coriolus Versicolor. That's the one that every pet, every person, every day should be eating that mushroom. They should be getting it into their system. And you can't take too much of it. Like Kurt said, doesn't interact with any medications or treatments. There are no side effects. You can't overdose, can't get addicted. So there are amounts based on weight that are available. If you're dealing with some more serious health concerns or any issues that you're concerned about, you can double or triple the recommended amount until your body makes a recovery. Then you can go down to the suggested amount. Now, for cases that are more catastrophic, like terminal or very, very serious health concerns, we recommend to do 4 or 5 times that amount just at the beginning to act as a catalyst to get your immune system really working, and then you can go down. But we never want to stretch people beyond their means. So even if you have to start small, even if you just have to take 2 capsules a day, getting that food into your system, getting that immune support is better than nothing. So that's the core mushroom that we have. Now, the yellow bottle that you see is called the Enforce Plus, and that's the Coriolus Versicolor mushroom, but it also has a little bit of reishi mushroom in it as well, which is an alkalinizing mushroom. And that's really helpful for regulating blood sugar levels, blood pressure levels, also cholesterol levels. There are a lot of great things that the reishi mushroom can do for the body. Now, the red bottle.
So let me stop you there. So I take the Enforce in the green bottle, but I've got a little bit of blood pressure issue, and I just had my blood work done, and I think my cholesterol was just barely out of whack. I would probably need the Plus.
Yeah, I would recommend the Plus because it's kind of like an upgraded version of the Enforce.
Okay.
Because it has the same amount of Coriolus Versicolor, but also that little bit of extra reishi that will be helpful for you.
Okay.
Also, we have people with rheumatoid arthritis and those types of conditions. Because the reishi is alkalinizing, it's been really helpful for that and dealing with all that inflammation in the body. Now, the red one, the Enforce Restore, is the maitake mushroom. So this is a completely different type of mushroom that complements the Coriolus Versicolor. And the reason that we added that is because the number of liver and pancreatic conditions that people are experiencing in the United States is rising astronomically. So what the maitake mushroom does is it helps to give liver and pancreas support. So again, you can take that along with the Coriolus Versicolor and it'll give you a more targeted approach. Now, the blue bottle, the Enforce Clarity, is the lion's mane mushroom. And this is really helpful for nerve and brain support, any cognitive issues like dementia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, neuropathy, which also are off the charts increasing right now, as well as people that are looking to maintain a healthy weight. There's a lot of research being done on how the lion's mane mushroom helps to remap the brain and helps the brain control or maintain a healthy weight for that individual. Now, the last one is Enforce Shield, and this is really important right now. That's the orange bottle because there's just this crazy, flu or cold or whatever it is going around right now. And what the shiitake mushroom does, which is what's in the Enforce Shield, is it's very rich in antioxidants. It's a great source for vitamin D, natural vitamin D, and it also helps to promote antiviral functions in the body. So it really does act as a shield for your cells that are on a cellular level. So taking that in conjunction with the Coriolus Versicolor can be very helpful, especially in cold and flu seasons, or when you're concerned you're going to be around a lot of people. That's a great thing to do in conjunction. And then, of course, we have a couple of other products that are great ways to get the Coriolus Versicolor mushroom into the system, like gummies or 100% natural gummies and chocolate chip cookies for children. We have coffee with it, which coffee is a great antioxidant as well. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. But yeah, after what we've seen, we're encouraging every pet, every person, every day should be eating this Coriolus Versicolor mushroom, putting this whole food into their system.
Cristin, what do you do for people that say, I can't afford this, it's too much, there's too many things I have to take at $40 a month or whatever? Why can't I just go to Costco or Sam's Club and buy big old packages of raw mushrooms and just eat myself sick of mushrooms and take care of all these issues?
Well, you could do that. I'm not going to stop you. But the challenge is that you will have to eat bags and bags and bags of it to get the same type of immune response that we're getting from one bag of ours. Like, for example, the mush puppies. I have people a lot of times that tell me, my dog's been on turkey tail for years. Why should I try this? And I'm like, you don't have to. But if this is resonating with you, if what we're talking about is resonating with you, you should maybe give it a try. That might be a prompt, right? And so they try the mush puppies instead, and literally within days, they notice a difference with their pet. So again, purity and potency matters, especially when you're dealing with mushrooms. The way it's extracted matters. These are all important. It's not just enough to take the turkey tail mushroom. You want to make sure you're taking a good quality strain. There are over 200 species of this mushroom. So the strain and the quality matter. And, I encourage people all the time. We have a 30-day money back guarantee. We're not trying to trick anyone into trying anything or buying anything. If you try it and it doesn't work, you can get your money back, no questions asked. That's not our heart at all. That's not our intention at all. We really want to serve. We really want to help. We want to get animals and people well again so we can live how we were supposed to live in the first place. And so there's no risk in trying it. And another thing I want to point out is, not like, for example, in our mush puppies, not only do we have the Coriolus Versicolor mushroom, but we also have naturally sourced glucosamine and carotene and chondroitin. So there are other supplements in it as well that are going to help with your pet's overall health that work in conjunction with it. So you're getting all of that all in one product that your pet will actually enjoy. Because I don't know if you've ever tried to give your pet a pill before.
Oh,
but
no.
A lot of times, spit it out and you're back at square one. So it's much more fun to give them a treat or a gravy.
Yep. So let's talk real quick on, I lost the page there. I want to go to the dogs and just kind of real quick on your top products there.
Yeah. So our really big go-to, you'll see that super sauce there, the special sauce that we have, that's available for both dogs and cats. And that not only has a Coriolus Versicolor mushroom and also those hip and joint supplements I shared with you, but also a lot of vitamins and minerals and antioxidants in it. And what's great about this is really cost effective for people, is you just take like a teaspoon or maybe a tablespoon, depending on the size of your pet, and you just mix it in with their food every day. And they get a lot of that goodness into it. A lot of that goodness into their bodies. So that's one of our favorite products for both dogs and cats. We also have the mush puppies, which are the dog biscuits Kurt was mentioning that Zento was taking. Very good. Yeah. And yep, right on the very top of the screen. Now, if you do have a larger dog that is the size of a horse or maybe has a more severe condition like severe allergies or they're dealing with something more traumatic, you could always give them the mush ponies, and that can help save money as well, because you could just give them like a half of a mush pony and they'll get the same amount of Coriolus Versicolor into their bodies. So that's more cost effective for people that are looking, that are tight on a budget or looking to see how they can get the most for what they're getting. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on there that you can look at and decide, what would be best for your pet based off of what you're currently doing already. But first and foremost, again, we got to get this mushroom into as many bodies as we can. It's just making such a big difference. And, once you guys start getting the stories back from this community and they start sharing with you all the things that are happening, you'll really begin to see what we're actually doing with Pet Club 24/7 and what our purpose is and how we're fighting back through this company.
And the mushroom you're speaking of is the Coriolus Versicolor, correct? Yes. Okay. Yes. Randy, I had to say, I feel so smart tonight.
I see his head getting
after
bigger
the show.
too.
I feel so smart. I know my wife's going to make some change. I'm going to force my wife to watch this episode, Randy, because I know she wants to make changes for the dog. And I know she's been wanting to make changes for me for a long time. With my, I don't have the best diet, but I will say this: you can't supplement your way to great health. So you have to take in good foods and good supplementation and good diet, good exercise, get out and some vitamin D.
Does she walk you every once in a while?
Every now and then she does. You should see the collar she has on me. It's crazy.
Shock collar.
It's crazy. So guys, if people want, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
That's a different show.
Oh my gosh. So if people go to grit.petclub247.com, grit.petclub247.com, they can take advantage of several of these items that you guys spoke of today, correct?
Yes.
And I just want to reemphasize, too, on the documentaries you said, one is Pet Fooled. The other one is Fantastic Fungi. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
We'll have to look those up.
Yeah, we'll have to watch those. I need more documentaries. I've got like 87 documentaries I need to watch right now, and it just keeps adding to it. I can't seem to get them all done.
It's funny because in the last 4 years, we've quit watching regular TV. All we look for is great documentaries. Truth documentaries.
I don't need a satellite. I don't need cable. I don't need YouTube. I just need the internet connection so I can watch documentaries and learn, because that's what I love doing. Guys, give our viewers and our audience one good, actionable piece of parting advice, if you would, today.
Yeah. You want to go?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I would just say, if there's anything that we've learned, especially over this last 4 years, is that there's just been this huge diffusion of responsibility. And for many, many years, we've been looking for someone or something to save us, right? And always waiting for that next thing to save us. So what I want to encourage everyone to do is let's all take matters into our own hands. Let's take responsibility for ourselves, starting first and foremost with our own body, with our health and the health of our households, with our pets, and start getting control back then, because it's hard to fight for something. It's hard to stand up for something if you don't feel well, or if you're depressed, or if you're suffering. It's hard to like step into your purpose or pursue any calling that God has put into our lives. So that's our first and foremost responsibility, is to keeping our vessels and what God has given us healthy and in good condition, so that we can go fight the good fight and stand up for people. And, we always know that God wins, but many times when we ask God to move a mountain, he gives us a shovel, right? He's like, I'll do it. We'll do it together. Let's partner up and do it together. So, that's what I want to encourage people to do is let's get control of our own bodies first and foremost, and then go from there and take back what's ours, what was given to us by God.
I should have went.
Should have gone first. That's right.
I definitely should have went first. But all I would say is when people are trying the mushroom for themselves, no matter if they're trying to resolve an issue or they just taking it to stay healthy, a few of the things that they're going to notice quite quickly is renewed energy about them. Yeah. They're going to notice sleeping better. They're going to notice some things, and they're going to be able to tell that they're getting some results from this mushroom. And so, a lot of people ask, what is it? How would I feel? And that's exactly what they'll see. And of course, in their animals, they'll be able to see it in their animals that it is helping through their immune system.
Well, we've heard of MAHA, Make America Healthy Again, but I think today is Make Pets Healthy Again, Randy. That's so important. I never thought about that, but it's so important to make pets healthy again.
I don't think there's an acronym for that.
Well, there's going to be.
We're going to make MFA hats.
There it is, MFA.
MAHA, Make Animals Healthy Again.
There you go. Good one.
So, guys, if people go to grit.petclub247.com, grit.petclub247.com, what can people expect when they get there?
Yeah, they'll find a lot of information that's going to be helpful for them, that's going to educate them. And if they feel encouraged or inspired to try any of these products, they can click on that shop button, and they'll see a lot of information on each of the different products. And of course, if they have any questions, feel free to contact us, and someone who's certified in pet nutrition will get back to them and help them.
Awesome.
And
well,
by
guys, thanks.
Online, they're getting about 15% cheaper than if they were to buy it offline.
Retail.
So
okay.
through your site, that's very beneficial for them to go there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this has been so informative. Randy, I learned so much on this today. At first, I'm like, we're going to talk about pets. I mean, seriously, I want to save America. I'm wanting to make medical freedom and get schools back on track. And I'm like, here we talk about pets, and this is probably one of the most exciting episodes I've done in a long time.
Well, I was thinking, if we've got the CDC, do the cats and dogs have the CDC too? The Cat Dog Commission?
You got to stop. We got to stop.
You might be an actual genius.
We need to start one.
Cat and dog commissions. We need to have a CDC.
There you go.
Yeah,
we'll take royalties on
that.
All
right, I'll stop there.
We'll stop, and I'm going to say it again, Coriolus Versicolor. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for being on here with us today. We appreciate the info you brought and shared with our audience, and thanks for just speaking truth about our pets, because I think that's one thing that people don't think a lot about. They just want to buy the cheapest toys and food and treats they can find, and I think this is a big eye-opener for so many people. So I just want to say thank you guys for coming on here and educating us and our audience with that.
Well, hey, thank you guys. You guys, man, for us and being a voice and getting it out where people were not doing that. It's the whole reason we're in this problem to begin with.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because we were being too quiet. So thank you. We know the sacrifices you guys have to make.
And a big thank out to Mark Zuckerberg. I'm getting tongue-tied here, Randy. A big thank you today to Mark Zuckerberg for wanting to drop the censorship. I mean, I still don't trust that guy. I still have I think he has some nefarious activities, but supposedly he's going to drop the censorship today as of January 7th, 2025, the day of this recording. So if that were to occur, we might get a lot more information out there without being censored or suppressed on our pets' health and our American diet and people's health. So, guys, thanks again for being here with us. We appreciate everything you're doing. Hope to have you guys back on for a future episode and updates.
We have to. God bless.
Awesome. Take care. See ya. Well, thanks so much for watching another awesome episode with Patriots with Grit. I think we do have renewed hope, Randy, that we can make pets healthy again.
Yep, and you can get these mushrooms by simply going to grit.petclub247.com, or you can go to patriotswithgrit.com and go to our Patriot Partners store, and you'll scroll right down, and it'll be right there.
And this is the Coriolus Versicolor mushroom, right, Randy?
Yes, it is.
Perfect. Guys, thanks so much. If you would like, follow, subscribe, and share on all the different platforms. Randy, what else do they need to do?
They need to subscribe, first of all, and then you need to hit that notification button so you'll know that a new episode is available.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next episode. Take care.
See ya.
Thanks for watching another exciting episode of Patriots with Grit. We want to keep you informed, so if you would, just go over to patriotswithgrit.com and give us your first name and your email so we can keep you up to date. Also, be sure to subscribe, like, and share so we can keep bringing you truth. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.